Guys and girls, it's finally time to get on with Andy's zero budget resto. We've got a Touran V2 front end to go on. The sun is absolutely booming and blinding me. Let's get into it. Some of you may be thinking, what's wrong with his front end? Well, not a lot. It's actually quite nice, actually. It's quite nice. We've got the colour-coded Touran front bumper, the Mark 1 Touran front bumper, and they are nice. A couple of you have actually commented or got in touch about what's happening with the bumper because they want it for their caddy. It's actually going to Rowan with Caddy Maxi on the channel. He's got a white one, original front bumper, so that's where it's going. I do apologise, guys. But Andy's one, the front wings are a bit rusty. And we did pick up a Touran V2 front end from Billy at Caddy Enhancements. He hooked us up. If you've got a caddy and you want Touran parts, door cards, front ends, all the good stuff, check out Caddy Enhancements on Facebook. Tell him you've come from DTE TV and he'll hook you up. And when you buy stuff from him, let's say you buy a whole front end, you'll have a little zip bag with all the nuts and the bolts in as well. Rather than having to use old bolts or random mismatch, it comes with all the hardware, fixtures and fittings. Your phone's killing my life right off this morning, Ant.
I was about to try and figure that one out.
It's fine, money messing. Need to get the wheels off because we're going to get the wheels off, front end off. And we need to get the wheel arch liners out. Wheels are looking shiny. The sun's shining today, but it has been a bit crap. Wet weather. I'm surprised that the wheels are so shiny and clean still. So the paint is that shiny, it's actually repelling the dirt. And if some of you are Hawkeye and think you only had 4 wheel nuts, I took the lockers off, lock and wheel nuts, off before the shot and I cracked him off with a bar. I believe it is a straightforward swap. And just quickly, if some of you are wondering, why don't he lift the ramp up to take the wheels off? Well, my theory is, why have the ramp up to take the wheels off and then struggle with the wheels to then put them down when I can just go and pull the wheels off without bending over? That's my logic anyway. Now I lift the ramp up. So if you're watching this as a guide, I'll explain on what bits you need to take off. Well, obviously everything. It's a front end swap. But there's loads of T20, T25 Torx everywhere, wheel arch liners out, front bumper off, headlights out, wings off, bonnet off, front panel off, in that exact order. And I'm sure you can manage it. If you're watching this as a guide, I'm sure you can manage to work out how to strip it off. Because if you can't even work out how to strip it off, then you might be a bit stumped on the front end swap. It's not hard, but it's not rocket science either. I think I'm going to roll a time lapse. And while the front end's off, Andy, we'll keep that one going. Andy has got starting issues. Keeps coming up with crank sensor. Oh, there's a fault code. Put a new crank sensor in it. Still comes up with a fault code. I have read that there's wiring that chafes through on the gearbox. But while the front end's off, we're going to have a little butcher's. We need to get this done in one day. Andy uses his motor to drive home, so we need to get this done. What is the time? It is 9:50 on the nose. I'm going to roll a time lapse. I'm going to get Andy to help me strip this off. We'll roll a time lapse and let's have a better look at how it looks without the front end on. Oh, yeah. started at 1 minute past 10. It's all stripped down and the time is 10:26. So it was actually 10:24 when we stopped. 23 minutes to strip it right down. Wings off, wheel arch liners, bonnet, bumper, front panel, all the good stuff. And one thing to note if you're doing a front end swap, you do need to take the A-pillar trims out, the plastics, and then there's 3 8mm nuts that hold the window in. You're better off doing that if... You are joking me. Oh, I've got to get this. I had to answer the call. It's the boy. What do you want to do? Hi, Mum. Hello, Mum. Mid-flight for a video. I'll let you off. What are you doing? Coming down here, Joey? Yeah. Alright, well, I'll see you soon. I'm right in the middle of something, but I'll see you soon, yeah? Oh, yeah. So, anyway, had to answer the call. It's the boy. Can't miss his call. You need to undo the pillar trim, so before you get it on the ramp, you might want to do it and have the doors open, because I could just about shimmy A the bolts with it on the ramp. You need to open the door to get that window out. Anyway, it's all stripped down and it's not rusty. If this was a Transit, I know if you watch the videos and I shoot down Transits a lot, that's because I've welded loads in my lifetime. I own one, it's rusty. So now I move on to VWs and they're not rusty in all the common places. I'm just surprised every time. Anyway, I'm going to get the front end over. And while the front end's off, I'm going to have a look, see what's going on with Andy's crank sensor. Because apparently, well, the crank sensor's buried in there. We had to take the oil filter housing off. It's still not right. It takes ages to start and it throws up crank sensor codes. So I've also read that there's a bit of wiring loom that chafes. That one is soaked in oil. So anyway, I'm going to poke around with the wiring loom, hopefully find an issue, and then we'll get the front end over and have a look from there. There's my right hand man Keeble, back from his 2-3 year holiday. Caddy over there looking shiny, that's run out of MOT. Look how shiny that is, but I'll have to MOT it next week. It's Bank Holiday Monday. When doing the front end swap, we need to change these front end pieces. Andy's already spent a while. You having fun over there, Andy?
Oh, yeah.
Andy's already spent a while. We've drilled out the top 4, some down the side, but there is a few down there. I may zip through with the grinder, then re-weld, or I might get to the back of the spot welds in there. Andy's going to drill the rest out what he can get to, but we've got the boy here on his bike. What's going on, boy?
Not much.
Not much. So I'm a little bit busy entertaining him. Andy's going to drill the spot welds out and we shall see how we progress. Before we put the front end back on, I wanted to look at the starting issue. And we've untaped all the wiring loom. And this is the crank sensor on the oil pressure switch. And you might already see, let me focus. Can you see the chafes in the wire? They've actually gone through. The black one's not the crank sensor, so it's these 3. And there's chafes all up and down the wire. They've actually gone right through. Excuse the state of my hands, I'm busy. So there's something going on in that part of the loom. I've done a continuity test from a split to the end and they're all beeping out, but that doesn't mean they're not touching together. Running low on time today because we need to get the front end back on, but that is an issue we'll address another day. So let's just pretend we haven't seen that for now. Assembly time. Ready, and let's lift this front up. There's a whole host of people behind camera. Hello. Can't see him. And he's in a Transit. And there's a little bit of rust around your arch, mate.
Yeah, no problem.
No problemo.
No problem.
Bit of expanding foam. Oh yeah. Anyway, front end. So this is a bit of a shimmy A. Need to get the radiator in there. I think it fits. But it's not looking like it's fitting. Oh yeah, down there. Keep, got a minute? Hold the front panel. I need to get... Oh, I'm on the deck. Why do I get a good job?
Oh, don't work on floor.
Oh, okay. Right, I'm in. Are you in?
Yeah.
Okay. 1, 2. And then these bolts hold it forward. I've got the rad hand. Oh, is there something stopping me? Okay, we're in. So, touran front panel, but we haven't changed. Oh, who's pulled it out? Come on, brother Keith. Original caddy rag pack, touran front panel. Yeah. Keep coming in behind you. Oh, you ain't lined up. I had to do this on my own, on my red caddy.
Hero.
I am a hero. Because he's a hero. No, it was a bit awkward. I was effing and jeffing, that's why it was a time lapse. Right, that's on. Let me get you some of the 16 litres. 3 of them. Ooh, finger tight. Ooh, liftage. That's it, now let go. I am going to get all these 16mm bolts in, and then I'm going to offer up these new wing pieces into position. Is this going to happen? Is it going to happen? So before I weld the new ones in, I'm going to slide them in, line the wings up, shut the bonnet, make sure it all fits pretty, and then I'm going to spot weld the new bits in. But before we go ahead and weld them in the wrong place, we're going to make sure it all lines up. So I'm going to get all the bolts in this, get it sitting a bit prettier, put the headlights in, and then we'll have a better look. Putting the wings on is a bit, it's not hard, but it's a better looking shot. This is just doing nuts and bolts up. You don't want to see that. So let's get it. Front panels on, all lined up, sweet. One thing I'm going to do before we go any further is find out about the bonnet cable, because on mine, is it the V3, the later front end? It didn't fit. I had to have the whole cable, but I've literally just plugged, because there's a separator here, that is plugged in, and that lives in its original house. Yeah, like a bit of that. Happy days. Obviously don't forget to be connecting your bonnet cable before you shut it. Now, these like to collect water, and yes, there's rust. There's a little bit of rust on the inside of the wing, right below where these foams sit, so they're coming off. And the wing, I did just undo the bolts a little bit. Fits straight on. Don't know about lining it up yet. Okay, so I'm just going to finger tight a couple of bolts in. I wonder if, because obviously you can see where the bolt holes was, where it was bolted on before. I wonder if putting the bolts back in their original, where they sat, lining the marks up, I wonder if that's perfect. That normally takes a bit of time. Okay, back a touch. Oh, it's looking good. I'm literally lining them bolts up. Do I need to take the wing off again? So unfortunately I do, to weld them front panels on. But I don't want to weld them in yet until I know that they're spot on. One of the wing bolts actually goes into the front bits, the wing ends. So that is about as good as it gets. Let's try headlight. Gotta love a VW, the way they chop and change front ends. And obviously all this come from the same vehicle, so the marks are going to be good. Look at that. Straight in. There is a couple of bolts under here. We're going to do them first. Then we get the bonnet on. So you don't need to see the other wing. I'll get the other wing on. I'm going to finalise a few bolts. We'll get the bonnet on. Yeah, pretty easy swap so far. The hardest bit is cutting these wing ends out, but half hour, 40 minutes went it hand?
Yeah.
Weren't too bad, was it?
Too bad at all.
Yeah, let me bolt a few bits up. Anyway, back to the caddy. Let's prop you up about there. Headlights went in, and literally I'm lining up. Grab that key. I'm lining up bolt holes with the bolt holes. So it's literally in the right place. I did get the hinges with the touran front end swap, but I'm not sure we need them. Who's got the bonnet?
I got it, mate.
Got it?
Yep.
So you're going to want to lift it up so the bolt holes line up. Maybe a bit more. So that's caddy hinges. Caddy hinges, touran bonnet. Right. I'll tell you what, hold that a sec. Let's just check this bonnet cable. Let me feel it. I feel it in my fingers. Oh yeah. That's definitely connected. Better be connected. Oh, there's a little snail. Well, the bonnet closes, the gaps are good. So the wing needs to be adjusted. But we're right in the slot. We are just catching that. So, and come round to my left. Oh, what's going on with this? Oh, okay, that is seized up. So I need to free that off. Oh, come on. Yeah. So that bit's seized a bit. Hold the bonnet up hand in the middle. Let's take this wing out a little bit. About that much. Oh yeah. Right, hold that again. Let me get my cups out of the way. Don't want my cups broke. Oh, right for a minute, okay, thank you. Come down. Let's looby-dooby this up before we close it, and then it don't open, and then I'm in there with a grinder. Andy crying. Yep, I got him. So, this side, the height is perfect. Do I need to go up a bit with this front panel? Or is it down a skosh?
Come down a bit here.
I'll tell you what it is. Right, and
Yep.
think fast. Jump out of the way. Now's the test. Sweet. This little adjuster needs to go in, I reckon. Oh, okay, even doing those up will pull that down. The reason I'm checking and double checking, because I don't want to weld anything until I know it's in the right place. Because once it's welded, that's where it's living. Oh, that's better. That's level now. So that's level. That can come up a skosh, but even doing them bolts up will bring that down. State of the paintwork on that. You're going to have to 120 that back to bare metal, etch primer, 2-pack primer, and rub it down. But I'm happy with the gaps. I'm happy with the level. I'm happy with the gaps. So I'm going to dig the welder out, tack weld around these new wing ends, then strip the wings off, weld around them, and that is it. If it weren't for needing to weld them, we could stick the bumper on and that's done. Did I plug the headlights in? I think I did.
Yes.
Let's see. Tell me if anyone's home, hand.
Not that side.
So driver's side's out.
Yeah, this side.
So it's either unplugged or there's a bulb out.
Yep.
I heard the motors go. Headlight adjuster. Oh yeah.
Yeah, they move.
Yeah. And we've got both headlights.
Yep. 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 Sweet.
Happy days.
Sweet as enough.
Literally plug straight in. So I am going to, the back of this bonnet wants to come up a touch, but that might be the back bolts, but that's fine. I'm going to weld in those front panels, and that's like the easiest front end swap ever, isn't it? Just bolt it on. Apart from taking the wing ends out. Yeah, happy days. I'll get these done, and then I'll show you the final finessing, but I'm happy with where they live. We're going to have to tack weld those. Tack weld them. You've got a gas strut.
Yeah.
Mine ain't. I've got a block of wood for mine. Not happy. Yeah, that's my gas strut. That's my gas strut. Your gas strut is still attached to the bonnet, but we need to weld that on before we put the gas strut on, or the weight of the bonnet will push that out of the line.
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, I'm going to weld these on. We'll have a better look. Let's get it. Right. All back together, almost. Still got to put the wheel arch liners in the front bumper, and there's just something I want to show. Let me zoom out. So we've got the lines of the door. Get a better shot? Yeah, we've got the lines of the door good. You can see the swage line. They're perfectly in line. The top does ever so slightly kick. The top does ever so slightly need to kick out. I need to tweak the wing. We need to take the wings off again, unfortunately, to do a bit of rust, but that's fine. But I'm happy with that. And when it comes to this part, and I noticed it on my caddy, the caddy doors ever so slightly flare in there. So I've got a trim tool and I kept tweaking it. That pushes the wing in and pulls the door out. And to pull the wing in, even more, I got my big red pliers and I squished it. And as I squished it, it's put ever so slight little press marks in there, which pulled the wing in perfectly. Been fiddling with it, finessing, getting the headlight gaps all nice, bonnet gaps nice. So this part of the bonnet was slightly down, So I undone the 313 mils, lifted it up a skosh and done them back up. Sits absolutely perfect now. Happy with all the wing gaps, really happy in fact. We've clipped a few bits of the bumper back on. Cause it had an accident, this front end. That's why it was cheap. Zero budget restoration. But it's fine. It's good enough for the girls we date. Last piece, crowning piece, front bumper. We ready, And?
Yep.
We'll put the fog lights in because we haven't got the wheel arch liners in yet. Yeah. Yeah, that is sweet. That looks good. You happy, And?
Amazing, mate. I love it.
It's good, isn't
I'm well
it?
impressed.
So
It
if
fits together really,
it
really
did
well.
fit together well. So if anyone's thinking of the V2 Touran front end, literally an easy swap. I've been playing with the wiring loom and fiddling with other stuff, but you could do it in a few hours, no problem. The longest bit was the wing tips or the wing ends. Yeah, very nice. Facelift for 100 quid. We're going to paint it. We haven't mentioned the colour it's going yet. The whole van, that is. It's quite straight. There is a couple of little marks I'll tweak out for him, but yeah, not too bad at all. We'll plug the fog lights in, get the wheel arch liners in, get the wheels back on. Oh, and we still need to do the windows. Bolt the little windows back in. But we'll get it on its, get it back on its paws, and let's get it outside. Yeah, that is looking sweet. Obviously the colour difference and the ropey paint makes it look a bit ugly, but when it's all the same colour, that's going to look sweet. Are you happy, And?
I love it, mate. It's amazing. Looks really, really nice.
It's definitely a facelift. I really like the later lights. It's definitely a facelift from the earlier front end. Your front end did look good.
It did, yeah.
It did, but this is definitely a facelift, and I like it a lot. It's going to look better when it's painted. We're going to get straight on with that. All the wheel arch liners and everything are back in. All the lights work. We are missing a side light bulb. I haven't got any, unfortunately. But it went together really easy. Literally everything lined up. The panel gaps are nice. The edges. Yeah, got to love a bit of VW for not really doing a lot on a facelift. Yeah, let's bring a new van out. Well, it's the same van, just with some bits stuck on it. But happy days. We're going to move straight on with painting it. We need to get the bonnet in primer. It needs bare metal in, etch primer, 2-pack primer, and it can sit in primer for a few days. There's a few bits on the bumper that need finessing. There's a few dents to go around, but we're going to move straight on with that. That is quite a job, but Andy can do it. I can help. With a bit of guidance, I'm sure Andy can do it. That is going to do it. Oh no, nearly. Side repeaters. I said I need to remember the side repeaters. So a caddy has holes in the wing and has side repeaters. The Touran has them in the wing mirror. We are going to get some of the later Mark IV side repeaters, drill a hole in the wing and have the side repeaters. Because you've got no side repeaters at the minute, you're going to have to wave like a push bike. But we'll do that in the bodywork video. Let's try that again, let's get back to it. We'll see you in the next one. I'm out. Guys and girls, getting on with caddy. Caddy? I don't think that's right.
Andy's pissed.
It's early and the sun's shining.
know.
Guys, oh, you're shitting me. There's a couple of outtakes. Guys and girls, the sun is absolutely booming and blinding me, but let's get into it. We'll save that. That's fine.
Blue.